I felt like if there is a God, that nigga hate me.
Lord, forgive us.
The things that I experienced was just like, why?
What are your thoughts about Jesus? Do you believe in Jesus?
I do think that in order for me to grow more at this point, that I need to actually maybe go to a Bible study. I'm just not comfortable in the black church yet.
Can you talk to me about how faith began to get incorporated into your entrepreneurship and content creation journey?
Well,
What's up, family? It's your boy Bakari Kamal, your favorite digital faith coach, here with another episode of the Digital Faith Frequency Podcast. Of course, this is for our faith-based, purpose-based entrepreneurs who are looking to grow in faith, brand, and business. So we're going to be talking about faith strategies, business strategies, and I'm here with our special guest today, Terri, also known as Chef T. Terri is a rock star. I'm actually going to go and read her introduction. Welcome, Terri, to the party.
hello everyone.
Just so you all know a little bit about Terri, she is a chef, a caterer, and a filmmaker and creative director. She works in my business, Bakari Kamal Productions. She facilitates youth programming across the city of Chicago. She's extremely passionate about addressing food deserts and food insecurity in our communities. So she has a powerful story. I met her in high school, and we just continue to build and develop relationship in pretty much our later years of life. But she has been a valuable asset to the business, but also just as a friend. So I'm excited to bring her to this platform so y'all can meet her. Welcome to the party.
Hi. Thank you.
So Terri, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of you being a chef? How did you originally get into being a chef?
Ooh. Um, so hey guys, I'm Terry, aka Chef T. I originally originally wasn't my path. I was in school for criminology, and I was working full time finance at UPS for like 8, 9 years. And I had some traumatic stuff happen in my life in which I had to pretty much take a step back from everything. I quit my job, quit my boyfriend at the time, cut my leash, and I called my stepmama. I was like, "Yo, I'm not doing well. I had to start a therapy and things like that, and I need to come home for 18 months to figure out my life because I'm not doing well." So during that time, I took 6 months off of work. So I left UPS, and I have a lot of younger siblings. And so at the time at my parents' home in Munster, it was 8 people there, including me. And so I would just cook every day. And so cooking has always been a passion, a family thing for us or whatever the case may be. But my family always told me that, "Oh, you got a lot of mouth on you. You should go to school to be a lawyer. You should be doing things like that." So always just pretty much told me like, food ain't gonna make you no real money. And so was deterred from doing that, and, during that time, just using cooking as a coping mechanism, healing, and just, being creative, uh, I had a thing for some egg rolls or whatever. I love going to Cooper's Hawk, get some wine, and I used to love they Southwest egg rolls, and so I'm like, "I could do this, but I could do it better because sometimes they be mushy and stuff, and so ended up doing some egg rolls. One of my friends posted online, kinda got out, and so now I'm getting orders for egg rolls and things like that, and I'm just
Yes.
like, and these egg rolls hunt me because people still want these egg
We
rolls.
still want the egg rolls. So whenever you release another egg roll drop, please let me know.
But yeah, so I mean, really that was the start. That was the beginning. I had took a role as a general manager at a restaurant, and pretty much learned the ins and outs of that or whatever the case may be. COVID hit, and in corporate America and things like that, you kind of learn that you're disposable during rough times like that. I had a really good run at Taco Bell. It taught me a lot. But when COVID happened, it just kinda showed you that frontline worker thing where everybody's sitting at home and we serving cheesy gordita crunches at 7 a.m. and everybody got these stimulus checks and we barely making it. And so when I got sick and they didn't pay me, and I'm the general manager, they didn't pay me, but they were calling me every day and I was pretty much like dying from COVID. And I lost all of my senses. I lost my motor skills. I couldn't taste. I couldn't taste for about 2 months. But I remember one night I thought I was gonna die, on the floor, and I couldn't get up, and I just prayed to God that if I get my taste back, that I will make whatever sacrifice needed to be made in order to, do what I had to do. And so, I got that back and I put in my 6 months notice at TB, and it's been a wrap since.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know all of that, so that's very interesting. When you talk about being a chef and learning, how to cook and just some of the origin story of you cooking for your family and things, I know that it takes a lot of faith to go into a career path when you don't have that formal background. Like as a filmmaker, for me, it's like I never went to film school. I just, I did go for media, but I never learned how to be on a set and all these things. So how did you overcome that fear of moving fully into being a chef and a caterer and you didn't have the formal background?
I would say my community. I'm that person. The internet is mean, people are mean, and like you said, like when it comes to you, you're a filmmaker. Ain't nobody gonna ask you what school you went to or nothing like that. They just see your art and they gonna be like, "Yeah, we want him. We want to book him." Blase, blase. With a chef, so what school you went? Oh, you a self-made chef? What you specialize in? Whatever the case may be. And so it's like you always drilled or whatever the case may be. But it's like eat the goddamn food. Try it. Like if you like it, you know what I'm saying. And every chef ain't you not gonna like. Everybody have a specialty. So my community, definitely my friends. My friends really. Um we a honey with each other. So if it's nasty, they gonna tell like, nah, that ain't it, or whatever the case may be. So
Mm,
y'all really like built built my confidence up with that of like, hey, you really cold with it. Like, so, just living that. So I would say my community helped me really feel good in that because I think up until probably last year, I wasn't confident in being like, hey, I'm Chef T. I'm like, yeah, I'll cook or whatever.
right.
Mhm.
All right. No, that's what's up. I mean, for those who don't know, this is the best chef in Chicago. So lock in with Chef T, Sean's Collective. She's doing the thing. And a part of your business is not just catering and not just cooking, but you're also doing youth programming. And so you've been serving a lot of the young people across the city of Chicago by teaching them culinary and teaching it as a form of healing. Can you talk to me a little bit about how did you end up getting into programming and why did you decide to go that route?
Um, how I got into programming. Y'all know entrepreneurship is ghetto. And sometimes, like when I quit TV, like I didn't necessarily like have a huge plan. It was more so I gotta get out of here because it's making me back into taking me back into a bad space that I just spent a lot of money to get out of.
When you quit.
Taco Bell,
Okay,
TB.
okay. That's dope.
TB Taco Bell, you know what I'm saying? They know what TB is. They shop there. Because I seen you there. But so yeah, so when I left there, I decided that I was gonna make money going into meal prep, custom meal prep or whatever. I had a good run with it, but it's a lot of work, and if you don't have people or operation, it's kind of like a, a setup for failure, right? And things like that. So, um, at some point in the beginning of entrepreneurship for me, I was just taking gigs to make money.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I could do that because I literally can blend in anywhere. I don't have a finance degree. I worked my way up the ladder there. I didn't have a degree in anything to make me a general manager and things like that, but I could blend in just how I learned video with you and things like that. So, yeah, so I got a gig. A chef in Chicago hit me up like, "Hey, I want to collab. I got some work at Gary Comer or whatever. They got these Freedom Fridays." So I was just going in teaching fifth to eighth graders like creative ways to bring in fresh foods. And I ended up kind of like really running it on my own. Like the chef kind of got the gig, and I was kind of just doing the work or whatever the case may be. And um, it just became a thing. It was cool. Like I had a good run and I just really didn't revisit it. And then when I started working in your business and saw what you was doing with the interns at Phalanx Family Services and things, and I was coming up there learning how to edit during your classes, um, it just kind of opened up a door for that. So that's how I got into it. Really, really, you. He know how I got into it. Hell,
Well, Just want to make sure we let the people know what's going on.
Like, wait a minute, it was
So
you.
it was a little me, but I think that that was still a part of your passion. You wanted to not just cook for people, right? You wanted to teach young people the skill. Like even you even try to teach me and all of our friends, like, can y'all eat something different than the same stuff y'all be eating, or how to, introduce more healthy foods and how to make it taste good. So I think you're a teacher naturally, but I think you have a special affinity for the youth.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah, that
but
was my baby.
so you you were doing all of this, and this is kind of what life looked like before you really went into doing media with me and being in the video production company,
Mhm,
right? And just for those who don't know, Terry, she joined me in doing video based out of need, right? So
mhm.
that was during a time where me and my wife, we were having a baby. She was doing wedding videos at the time with me, and then I'm like, I need help. A lot of a lot of the growth of the business has come out of me needing help. So I'm like, I need help. And then you end up, coming around to support. And I was helping you with your business and your brand. And I'm curious to know, during that time, you hated creating content. Like, you did not want to create content. You didn't want to post. You didn't want to post. You didn't want to mix the business and what you were doing personally. Can you tell me what was some of your mindset during that time? Why didn't you want to create content, or what was some of your concerns at the time?
I think like what most people concerns are is like we have a lot of insecurities, right? Um, One, how do I look on camera, right? Two, like looking at these cameras like it makes me cross-eyed and things like that. So just kind of like just the fear of looking stupid. It was number one, the fear of looking stupid, and then the number two is just like I'm a creative naturally, and so, like, I'm not a person like, I wouldn't do this on the regular. I wouldn't just be like, "Hey, let's do a podcast episode," right?
Right.
I wanna create something so interesting to be able to express myself, and I think that, that fear of rejection or the fear of people it not translating over properly or people not understanding it, that was one thing, and then when it comes to food, if the food could taste good, but if the aesthetics ain't giving,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of recipes out there online that y'all be seeing and oohing and eyeing over, and when you use that salt and pepper, that shit is terrible. It's terrible. So, but that aesthetic, that they got, make it look good and receivable and things like that. So, it was really just that people are mean, and you creating all this content and you end up being trolled and become a meme or something, and then I gotta fight all y'all.
Oh my God. So you had these concerns, a lot, some fear, some overwhelm. What was it one thing, or was it multiple things that began to get you comfortable creating content and using it as a tool to grow your business and your brand?
Well, one, confidence, right? There was a point where I would not create or didn't feel comfortable without creating without you. I couldn't even make a caption. I needed to run it by him. I'm calling him like, "Could you look at it? I can't post it." And I think that even kind of maybe put a stressor on like our relationship at the time because it's like, dude, like I can't do everything for you, right? Um, confidence has to come with it, but I just think that's like comes with like being around like-minded people and actually being in the work and seeing what's going on and learning, right? I'm a visual learner. So y'all talk about ISO, this, that, and the other. I don't know and understand that, but I can watch you fix something and change a color palette and I can mimic that or whatever the case may be. So once I started hanging around you and other creatives and things like that and just seeing how quick y'all shooting on the fly, it made me realize like I can do it. I just have to do some internal work because it's deeper than, you know, I think it was just deeper than being on camera. It was just like I said, those insecurities about myself and just being confident in who I am and letting people see that.
Do you feel like you ever struggle with like perfectionism? I know there's a lot of creators who are like, oh, I have to be perfect, and then that's why it never gets out. Was that something that you dealt with, or that was never really your issue?
So I suffer with perfectionism, but perfectionism mixed with someone that has like that suffers from anxiety, like issues or whatever the case may be, those mixed together, that's a bad mix, whatever the case may be. So yes, I want it to look good. Like if I have a vision, I want it to look exactly like that. But being anxious about it just is stay in the vault forever. So I definitely do think that the perfectionism was a thing, but I
Mhm.
think my anxiety with just a lot of different things around it, surrounding it, just was the thing for me.
So let's talk about faith, right?
Mhm.
How did faith help you to push past some of the anxiety or some of the fear? Because you know me, I'm gonna be like, okay, let's pray. I'll be like, Terry, hey, let's go to church. And when we first reconnected, I don't really think you were that deeply engaged with any type of church or any type of praying and things like that. Now, as we sit here today, you pray more, you are exploring different churches that you might want to participate in. But the most important thing is you have your own personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
And that's not something that we could have said when we first reconnected.
No,
So,
sir.
can you talk to me about how faith began to get incorporated into your entrepreneurship and content creation journey?
Well, one, community. Imma always go back to community because by the grace of God, I have a circle who is all strong in faith, and I think I'm probably always been the only one that was just like, "Yeah, I can't attach myself to something that I can't see. I can't lean so I can lean on you because I know you, I could depend on you, you showing me that. But that like having attaching to something that I couldn't see with the things that I've dealt with in my life, I felt like if there is a God, that nigga hate me because all these things
Lord, forgive us.
I'm just being honest because the things that I experienced was just like, why? You know, why? And I just felt like it continuously would just happen to me. Like my life is a movie. But those things were very hard to maneuver and they would put me in dark spaces and things like that. And it was just like I couldn't understand that, right? But having friends that prayed for me through my roughest times, through depressed times, through times when I was on medicine and things like that, right? Um, you guys praying over me, praying with me, praying for me, um, really kind of helped me maneuver that. And me and you will go back and forth all the time. I'll call you on a day and I ask you to pray for me or whatever the case may be. And we end up having a conversation one day about like you read a scripture, like that don't stick to me. Like who wrote this book or whatever the case may be. But going to therapy, it was always recommended for me to do like affirmations because I always had like this bad self talk of myself and things like that. And so once I started doing affirmations and things like that, and hearing you do scriptures, I would start comparing what I was affirming and being able to verify or confirm it with something that you would bring to me later in a scripture. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, this makes a little bit of sense. And so I was able to rock out in that sense where I was able to start exploring scriptures. And I ain't gonna lie, like I was opening the Bible. I was still exploring through you. That was another thing that I was attached with, like, hey, like, could you send me a scripture today? Could you send me something or whatever the case may be? Um, but then, with working with youth, and just I was an at-risk youth, and so working with at-risk youth, I don't really like that word, but I
Mhm.
don't know what to replace that with right now.
Right.
But working with them and just seeing them go through similar things that I went through and maybe things worse, just trying to figure out like, well, you can't rely on me. What can we rely on? So just being able to start incorporating affirmations into my work, and then some kids, it's they had a big faith based background or whatever the case may be, but it didn't align with half the class. So being able to just kinda line them up just so I can kinda meet everybody just because I know at some point when I seen a scripture online, Imma scroll past it, but I'll read an affirmation.
Right.
And so just kinda being able to do that and embedding that into what I was doing just kinda helped me along the journey accidentally.
No, I think that's dope. Like for me, I have a desire for everybody around me to really deepen their relationship with God because I understand what deepening my relationship with Jesus and God has done for me. So, anybody that truly encounters a relationship with Jesus is going to want that for the people around them, especially when you see people around you struggling,
Mm.
right? But one thing I had to learn, especially with you and some of our other close friends, is I'm just as bad as a religious, judgmental church institution if I try to force that onto you.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, what can I do to continue to introduce you to Christ without being religious and judgmental? And a part of that is just, being an example, just being patient, being kind, things like that. But I did, even now, I'll be like, she doing affirmations. I'm like, did she read the word? It's just something in me that wants to continue to see you grow in your faith. But one thing I saw at the beginning of this year is that you you incorporated the scripture and the affirmations. And I think that's important, especially when we're trying to reach people who are not in relationship with God.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at the beginning of this year, I think I went through a transformation that, I literally had to rely on faith, right? And so in that time, I really needed confirmations. Like, affirmations wasn't working for me. I didn't believe nothing I was saying, so I had to have something to confirm it. So that really helped me this year. So that's why I was like, "Okay, let me do it aloud," because I think a lot of for me, I'm a person that, um just like a fitness journey. If I post online, I feel like I'm gonna be more, consistent because people are watching me.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times people think that I'm posting stuff for them, but I'm posting my internal battles in my head online because I know I'm not the only one dealing with them. But I know that if I post them and if I'm getting some good feedback on it or whatever, that it will keep me consistent. But in return, it was a tool to help me work on myself and help me get through what I was going through.
No, that's dope. So let's get into the meat and potatoes here because I just want to ask you straight up. So, what are your thoughts about Jesus? Do you believe in Jesus? Like, where are you at this point in your walk with God? Yes, I put you on blast on the podcast. I just want to know, like, where's your and it's for you to be honest, for you to share your where you are personally at.
Uh, I don't know. I believe in a higher power. I I believe, right? Where am I with it? I don't know. I have a relationship with him. I definitely talk to him more. But I'm not as strong in faith as other people or whatever the case may be. I still call friends to ask them to pray for me. I did learn how to pray out loud this year. Remember, it was a thing that I couldn't pray out loud and things like that because I just felt like I was talking to myself. But I talk to myself a lot of times on a regular anyway. So,
Mhm.
but I would say that I don't know. I think you're gonna probably have to ask me more questions to get that out of me because I don't really know. I know that I'm much stronger in faith than I was before. I don't have a church home. I have visited a church. Recently I work in a church, which keeps me around a pastor and church things. We do a lot of things in a communities of churches and things like that. So I think naturally I'm gravitating more towards it. Um, but I ain't gonna lie to y'all and act like I'm going to Bible study tonight or anything like that. No.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think, I'm encouraged by your walk because you're doing it in a way that's authentic, in a way that makes sense for you. You're not. There's plenty of people who go to church every Sunday, but they really don't have a strong faith,
Mhm.
right? It's a ritual, it's a religion type of thing. And what I always try to communicate to you is your walk has been a relationship thing. And that's what we all should be striving for. So I'm encouraged by not only your personal walk, but the the way that you use the digital space to share authentically what it is that you're going through and what it is that you're doing with. Which means that whenever you do go deeper into your relationship with Christ, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, let's post about Jesus. And I can encourage you to do that as well.
Yeah, I think I'm in a space where I feel like for that to happen for me, I do need to kind of find a church home just because I'm the type of person I am. Like, I'm not gonna sit and just open the Bible. Like, I I have to listen to stuff or whatever the case may be. And you bought me for my birthday every year. He buys me a Doyle app which will read to me and things like that. I've been using that more. But I do think that in order for me to grow more at this point, that I need to actually maybe go to a Bible study, maybe actually physically like go to a church consistently and things like that. I just I'm just not comfortable in the black church yet, and I'm working my way up, but I'm just not there yet.
No, I appreciate that. And just to pause, the Dwell app is an app that I gift to people, and that's built into the app. It allows you to gift it to other people where you can listen. It's an audio first Bible, so you can listen to the Bible in different versions and different voices. And that is when I was first like building my relationship with God, like deeper. I rededicated my life back to Christ in 2023. I started off with prayer. Prayer was my first point. That was my first stop. I was like, okay, let me talk to God. And then as God continued to divert my attention back to Jesus Christ, I was like, okay, let me learn, let me re-engage with the Bible to see what do I, like what do I believe? And as I tried to read it, I'm like, let me listen to it. And then I found the Dwell app. And so then I began to listen because somebody gifted it to me. So I
Mhm.
always like to be that gift to other people because that's what allowed me to really start getting into the Bible.
No, for sure. It's been very helpful.
That's dope. So, Dwell, this podcast isn't sponsored, but if you ever want to sponsor the podcast, come on now. We're here. Dwell is a great app, you guys. Outside of that, let's get back into the content piece. For those who are like, well, I'm a faith-based entrepreneur and I want to create content, but I need to know like how do I tangibly start? Some people are concerned about equipment, some people are concerned about all these different things. What would be your number one piece of advice to somebody that's a faith-based entrepreneur that's looking to actually start creating content on their personal brand?
When you're doing it, prop your camera up and just record it.
Okay, I
I
like that.
I I mean, I just you can overthink so much stuff when it comes to content. I still overthink so much stuff when it comes to content, but what I've learned was that if you got a camera rolling, you gonna be able to do something with that content, whether you put some words over it or wherever the case may be. But I would say first, uh, learn how to be comfortable on camera by propping your camera up no matter what you're doing. And you might not use it, you might come back to it, you might learn from it, but just, that will teach you a lot about yourself and your mannerisms and the ums and what to do with your hands and things like that. And and if you don't like how your weight look, get in the gym, boo.
Oh my God. Wait, so what's your favorite go-to setup right now in terms of creating content for yourself?
My go-to setup right now is well, I have a DJI Osmo Pocket
3?
3.
Mhm.
And so it shoots 4K, 4K 60. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, 4K 60 frames per second.
4K 60 frames per second.
That just mean it's really good, it's
Yeah.
really solid.
Yeah, and it shoots horizontal and vertical just by a little switch, whatever. Very wide angle. So right now, I'll just like kind of prop that up in front of me and then you can turn it around and could follow your face. It's really good for a lot of different things. So that's one thing, but I still shoot a lot of content on my phone because those things die and things like that, and you gotta use a memory card and things like that. But we always keep our phones on us. Our phones always charged. Our phones real quick, accessible.
Right.
So 9 times out of 10, I'm still using my phone.
That's dope, that's dope. And what has been the like talk about some opportunities, right? I tell people all the time, when you create content, it opens up opportunities, it opens up doors. It's not just about just money.
Mhm.
There's also different other opportunities that arise when you're a content creator. Can you tell us what have been some stories or things that have opened up for you just because you were creating content consistently?
Um, well, when you create content, you're showcasing yourself, and it gets to show people the different things that they don't know about you, the different abilities, the creative stuff, or what you do in work, depending on the type of content that you make. And I do a lot of mixture of personal branding. And you gonna see me working, but I just try to be true to myself. And I think using the two of those together, it has opened up a lot of opportunities. One for working with youth more, right? Because they see me interacting with my youth, but um, just a lot of different things. Catering gigs, right? I'm getting contracted for shooting. Um, and again, I only have a DJI Osmo. I shoot mainly with BKP equipment and things like that. So I'm not like I don't necessarily contract for it, but people see the creativity or they'll see BTS. BTS is a good thing to show because
What's BTS for those who don't know?
behind the scenes, right? So a lot of times we show what it looks like, right? But then when you see the team working behind the scenes, you really see the brains behind it. Who's really telling people what to do or the thought process behind it, and people being able to see our BTS a lot. They're like, "Oh, Terry is a creative director. Terry, like, I just want to use her brain." So people are paying me just to help them execute an idea, which that's good, easy money or whatever case may be versus,
Mhm.
providing the whole catering service and things like that. And then like just with people seeing me rock out with my youth and things like that. I just recently got a opportunity with the juvenile detention center to be able to go in and pilot a program in which is the first program like this in the entire Midwest.
Wow,
Uh,
congratulations.
thank you so much. So that's exciting, but just, if you're not showing people what you do, you're like the best unknown thing out there.
Wow. No, I love that. I love that. So when we're getting ready to end this year, we're going into 2026, right? One of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on the podcast is because a lot of podcasts we see nowadays, people bring on people like, oh, this person has a million followers or whatever, and you're somebody who you don't necessarily have a million followers, but you have made a tangible impact with 1,000 followers, or coming up on 2,000. I believe is you're on the road to 2,000 followers, but you have made a lot of progress in the area of business because of that. So what are you doing to double down on what you did this year? How are you planning on leveraging your personal brand more in 2026?
How am I planning to leverage my personal brand in 2026
Yeah, and your content creation.
and my content creation? Rephrase that question for me.
So, like, we see what you did this year,
Mhm.
right? You created on the fly. Are you planning on being more intentional about creating more content in 2026, or
Okay. Okay. Yes. So planning. So I think doing bulk content planning and things like that, but just also understanding where I want to go and where I want to be. So just being more intentional with that. So yeah, just getting with the team, planning out, getting into the things that I want to do. I love commercial shooting and things like that. So just really elevating the branding for next year, bringing in those creative parts, and things like that. So I don't know if that's answering your question.
I think it does, right? One of the things that I saw you do this year that was super, um, just it was really next level was the Toast to Success event. So you hosted an event this year
Mhm,
with your youth, and then you had so much content come out of that event
mhm.
that you're able to use it to showcase the event, but you're also able to use it for other things that you're doing. Can you talk to us about what your mindset was and what your strategy was behind using that event to create more content?
Oh yeah. So Toast to Success was an event to pretty much bring entrepreneurs and just like black excellence into one room, right? And this was the second year that we done that. I guess for me, the main goal was to be able to show my youth a different level of Black excellence that they've ever seen before, and just showing them like all of these different people, they tapped into their niche, and that whatever it is that you want to do, you should network and lock in with them because you might be able to do that. But what I did was a lot of people see us on cameras and stuff, they think we got the money, but we don't really got the money, so you gotta use your community, and so I have a great team, an amazing team, and you have an amazing team, so I was able to tap in to my network's network and be like, "Hey, could you come in and, be a sponsor, but in return, you get this content. This is gonna be this type of event," things like that, and so um, I just use my resources. So I got uh event event footage from one videographer. I got headshots on deck from everybody, from one photographer. I got event photography from Trey, from our teammate, and I also got some extra event photography and videography from you or whatever. And then I also one of my interns, we leveraged him. He has his own production company, and so we use him as a sponsor to get specifically social media content. In which typically on an event like this, you trying to have everybody shoot and send you little clips that they got and trying to put it together, but I was able to be present in the event and not even I didn't even have a phone. I didn't even have to have a phone on me or whatever. And so my thought process was that if I get all these different types of media, that I'll be able to stretch it out for the rest of the year because the main thing I am doing is programming. The main thing I am doing is connecting with community. So it's not just, oh, this is the Terry show, this is the community show. We got all these business owners. So I'm able to leverage local business owners. I'm able to leverage my friends and just able to use it for all of our portfolios and what we can execute when the community comes together. And I think that even has also gotten us some great opportunities just to work with different people and just people just want to be in our space.
No, that's what's up. I'm excited to see where you go next year. I'm believing that we're going up to the top next year, 2026. And I'm looking forward to just you building team and growing and making sure that everybody in Chicago know who you are. So that's what me and our brother over there who's behind the scenes, we're gonna make sure we continue to highlight you and what you're doing.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
if you could talk to the version of yourself that was scared to create content, um, you know, doing everything by yourself, what would you say to that version of Terry or Chef T?
This my camera. Yeah. You missed out on a lot of money, Bookie.
You missed out on a lot of money, it's crazy.
Yeah, you missed out on a lot of money because time is money. So I'm not saying it like necessarily. I mean, I'm saying both ways, but time is money. So I wasted a lot of time trying to do everything by myself. Um, I used too much time overthinking and shooting stuff. We got stuff in the vault that's never been released, whatever the case may be. And it was good content. It just wasn't up to the standard. And I couldn't even shoot at the standard that I wanted it to be up to. So I would just tell her to just post. And if it failed, just try again and just keep posting.
You heard it here first. Just keep posting. That's pretty much it. We'll have other episodes where we bring you on and go deeper because you have a lot of other things we could talk about, especially the beginning of this year. So maybe we'll touch on that on the next episode. But I just want to thank you for your time. For those who are watching, I want you all to be in community with us. I have just launched the Digital Faith Academy, which is an academy for faith-based entrepreneurs who are looking to grow in their Bible, business, and branding, who want to monetize social media, but do it without sacrificing your integrity and continue to grow in your faith. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm going to put the link here in the description so you could be a part of it. Also, make sure you go and check out Chef T and Charms Collective. Can you let them know where they can connect with you at?
You can connect with me on Instagram at Sharms Collective, CHARMS COLLECTIVE _. Or yeah, that's really where you can hit me at.
That sounds good. So I appreciate you all for hanging out with us. I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. This is the Digital Faith Frequency.
On my daddy.